The more the merrier. So we're also streaming live on YouTube, so that's exciting. Dale, I think you might have yourself on mute. So, oh, okay, you didn't miss some of the stuff earlier. Perfect. Okay, no problem. We're gonna give everybody about 5 minutes. You're at work, Dale? We're gonna give everybody 5 minutes to jump on. We have quite a few people joining tonight. If you're joining for the second time around, that's totally fine. We are gonna essentially, I'm gonna talk a little bit. I'm gonna let you guys have some questions, and then we're gonna wrap it up. So that's the plan for tonight. Hope everybody is doing well in their respective locations. As always, go ahead and let us know where you're in from. I'm always super duper excited to see people from different parts. So Dale, I know are you in Delaware or are you in Maryland now? So it's always great to see people from different areas jumping in on these lives. So that's always exciting for me. So go ahead and drop it in the comments. So let's see what we got while we wait our 5 minutes. Oh, we have New Jersey. Okay, Sabrina. Sabrina, have I talked to you before? D, Delaware. Oh, okay, you're in Maryland, Indiana, Atlanta, North Carolina, Cleveland. We have quite a few NOSAs lately coming out of Cleveland. Let's see. So we have, what else? Let's see. South Carolina. Okay. Swanee. I used to live out there. Angie's daughter. Oh, okay. Sabrina, your aunt. Gotcha. Okay. Yes. I talked with your mother not too long ago. So cool. All right. So, like I said, we're going to give it a couple more minutes to get started. So some people are jumping in as we speak. So we're going to wait a little bit longer. Philadelphia. Okay, that's not too far. Talia, that's not too far. And then we'll get started with the actual session. And if you have questions, so if you have to leave the meeting and you have questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat now so that I'll answer the questions at the end of the webinar. So if you have to leave, because I know a couple of us are multitasking, so we might be at work too. No problems with that. So just drop your questions so that I can answer it later if you can't stay. And the goal is to be done by 9:30, but it depends on how many questions you guys have, and we'll kind of go from there. Shalandra, I've talked with you too. Looks like I've talked with just about everybody here. Yeah. At least once. Yes, I think I've talked with a little bit of everybody here, at least one go around. And it's so exciting now because the group has grown so much that you really can connect with a fellow NOSA in your area. So it's a great opportunity to see where people are from, where they're representing, and make some connections. Because this time, to be honest with you guys, is a great time to network because there'll be so much opportunity out there. I spoke earlier on the Facebook Live in the group about just the fact that COVID rates have hit again. So for our clients, they've opened up COVID rates. So that just creates opportunity, nurse sharing, I'm of the mindset, if you win, I win, we all win. So I would definitely maximize on those opportunities inside the group, outside the group, however it works best. All right, so we're gonna give it 2 more minutes and then I'm gonna get started. Like I said, if you have to jump off of the live at some point, feel free to drop your questions. And also, since I'm over here multitasking, if you're on YouTube, drop your questions as well, because we're also running live on YouTube. So I'm excited. Hi, Carol. We're just telling everybody where we're from. You might meet a NOSA friend in the group. So definitely want you guys to connect. New Orleans. Okay. So I'm going to do one thing and I'm ready to go, guys. Okay. All right. So Angie, I'm going to answer the questions at the end, but I do have yours. Hey, Tampa, Florida. Hi, Patricia. Okay, so essentially let us know where you're from if you want to. You can also feel free to share your information if you want to network with people. A great way to do it is here. We have a lot of NOSAs in similar states. Say hi, let us know where you're from, introduce yourself. I think we got a couple more seconds and we're going to go ahead and get started. If you can't finish the whole session with us tonight, feel free to drop your question like Angie did, and I'll answer it at the end. So I'll answer all the questions at the end, okay? All right, guys, let's get started. So welcome, good evening. I'm super excited. This is the second time this month that I've done this webinar, but I'm actually pretty excited tonight to do it again. So the Ultimate Staffing Agency webinar. I'm gonna also record it. So welcome to the Ultimate Staffing Agency webinar without a large budget or even any overhead costs. So my name is Shemeka, and I am the creator, founder of the NOSA group, as well as the Nurse Owned Staffing Agency group on Facebook. And I just wanted to come in and welcome you guys. Thank you guys for taking out a little bit of time in your evening, maybe it's afternoon, depending on where you're located, to hang out with me and get some information about the healthcare staffing industry, as well as about the course that I'm offering for this fall. So for most of you guys, you already know me, but you may not know everything about me. So I wanted to share a little bit more about myself. So I'm a former human resources expert. So prior to getting into nursing as my second career, I was previously a human resources specialist and professional for the federal government. So that was my first career for a little bit over a decade. And then I went into nursing, and I've been in nursing a little bit over a decade, or just about at a decade. I'm not going to age myself too quickly. And I got in, I did my time on the floor, and then I entered the travel nurse arena of nursing. And I love it. So for those of you guys who know me on a personal level, I love to travel. So I love to travel pre-nursing, but travel nursing and being able to go to these different places kind of put the icing on the cake. As always, I am a dedicated NOSA, i.e. the reason the NOSA group was created, as well as an all-around staffing expert and consultant. I founded the NOSA group back in 2018. And essentially, one of the reasons I founded it was because I wanted to create a safe space, a community, a network, which is what we have now, of professionals in healthcare and or nursing who wanted to kind of enter in this healthcare staffing space as entrepreneurs. So through the group, I've been able to create a strong, amazing network of over 5,000 healthcare professionals from the group and other social media platforms. And we're just exploring healthcare staffing as a business option and what it looks like, in asking the questions, creating the networks, connecting with people. So some other fun things I had the opportunity to do is last year I was actually featured in Allure magazine as one of their frontliners. I also have been featured in Entreprenista League, as well as my first course at the second iteration of it was a partnership that I did with Katie Harris, who is the owner of Nursepreneurs. So that's a little bit about me. Originally from Maryland, living in Delaware. Still travel a little bit up and down the East Coast. So let's get started. So a lot of you guys kind of know the journey. I have the video in the group, but a little bit about how the NOSA group began was I was a travel nurse. And being a travel nurse, you always meet fellow travelers, whether they're from where you're from or from other states, and that kind of becomes your connection. So I met a fellow travel nurse who was also my business partner down the road, and he explored the idea of starting an agency with me, and I agreed. Now, don't get me wrong, the first time he presented it, I was a little bit hesitant, but it took some time. It was probably the second travel assignment that we both were on that I decided to think about it as more of like something that's really doable, as well as I had the opportunity to see how much agencies were charging for me to go to work. And at that particular time, it was about 50%. So if the bill rate was 60, they were getting 30 and I was getting 30. And in my head, in my human resources head at the time, and my nurse head at the time, it just didn't seem right that the split would be 50-50. And I was the one doing all the work. So what we did was we got together, we did a lot of brainstorming and research, and we went on to start our first agency in New Mexico. And one of the great things about New Mexico, which is the case for some states throughout the United States, is it is a underserved niche, the actual state. They have a lot of need in the market, but they don't have a lot of nurses. So there was a lot of opportunity for us to grow, to start. We got our first client, which was a facility that we had both worked for. And then we built on those relationships as time went on. Our second client was a flu clinic company that I previously worked for. And, we started off small. We worked the agency. It worked for us and really allowed us to build up our capital. And then we continued from there. And for us, a lot of the process was very trial and error. So when in 2018, I decided to create the group, I really wanted to do it because I felt like there has to be somebody out here doing it. There has to be like a roadmap or a how to do a course or book that kind of explains some of the missing pieces. And for us, some of the missing pieces was kind of based on just like running a business in general, not so much the staffing piece, but like business operations and accounting and payroll and unemployment taxes and things of that nature. So some of the things we got help along the way, but we definitely also look to figuring out on our own. So, i.e. the creation of the NOSA group, and so many other NOSAs throughout the United States have done an amazing job of contributing to what the group is and what the process can look like. So as you guys already know, in the United States, this is as of 2015. So this was probably a little dated. The nurse turnover rate ranges from 8.8% to 37% yearly. So what that looks like now is probably much higher, but there's a high turnover rate in our industry. So as nurses who represent, and that number is still quite accurate, 4 million strong, we're always in demand. And a lot of people confuse and I'm gonna put in quotations, notion of being nursing shortage as a reality versus what it really is. So we are 4 million strong, which is amazing. But of that 4 million, we don't have that same number of nurses who are working in the hospital floors. So a lot of people don't realize nurses can work in all types of settings. Nurses can work for insurance companies. They can work for law firms. So there's a lot of other non-clinical based roles that nurses work in, but specifically the 4 million strong makes you think, well, we have more than enough nurses. It's just that many nurses, for so many different reasons, aren't as enthused about working on the floor. And another side note about nurses is that the average age of a nurse is 51. And what that looks like is more and more nurses are reaching the age of retirement. So we all know many nurses who have retired, they do things on the side, but the rate of retirement versus the rate of entering the industry is off. So in the next 10 or so years, we'll also have an issue of a real shortage of staff in general, where the baby boomers, and the Generation Xers behind them are not staying in the industry as well. So many times, Generation X, Y, and Z are coming into nursing, but leaving within 5 to 7 years. So as it says, the issues around nursing aren't going away. The demand nurses are always increasing. There aren't enough staffing agencies to meet the needs of hospitals and nurses as employees. And what that really talks to is that staffing agencies in the way that they originally look versus how they look now was a more monopolized system. So before, back in the days, there was like top tier staffing agencies for healthcare. And then if smaller agencies came up, they got gobbled up by the bigger agencies. But now, especially since COVID has been around, you're seeing a lot of your more mid-sized, smaller agencies. So they're really helping with meeting the needs, because some of your more established agencies really aren't going to do certain types of facilities. They're not going to staff certain places. So that kind of opens the door for people to enter into the staffing agency business. So essentially our goal tonight is to, one, understand if starting a nurse staffing agency is a right fit for you, as well as what it'll take to launch and be successful. So those things go hand in hand for me. So I don't want you to launch your agency and it not be successful. I get it. Launching an agency, working, life, family, balancing it all can be challenging. But I try to develop a course that allows you to really do that and get the support and direction that you need to kind of follow through. I'm one of those people it doesn't matter how long it takes you to get there, as long as you get there. So if your goal is to launch in December and it takes you till June or February, that's fine, as long as you launch. So we'll get an understanding of the problem. We'll find an area that is underserved. We'll talk about finding an area that is underserved. We'll work towards creating a solution to that problem, as well as we'll take the first steps to build a profitable business. So those are some of the things that we'll touch on tonight in the webinar. So of course, as always, there's so much information to know. And sometimes having that much information can be very overwhelming. And nobody really gives you all the secrets to figuring it out. So they'll give you bits and pieces. You might even take a course or do a training session. You'll get some information that'll spike your interest. But our goal is to help you figure it out as much as possible so that you can grow and be on your own and run your agency independently. So I work with so many NOSAs in the group. These are some of the initial first NOSAs that jumped into the group back in 2018, 2019. Jonathan Pierre, he was a nurse entrepreneur in another industry, and he joined the NOSA group, as well as Eric Dorsey. He was a NOSA out of Kentucky that was working with one of the vendor management systems, and he's done really well. He as well has gone on to do some more executive level healthcare staffing. So this just touches on some of the people that I've worked with. So what do I want to show you? So I want to show you tonight some of the essential skill sets that you need to start and scale your nurse staffing agency. So the top 3 secrets that I think you need, or that need to be known about starting a nurse staffing agency, include: 1, picking the right niche that's clear and underserved. So one of the examples that I gave earlier was that our niche happened to be the whole state, but your niche can be a whole lot of other things. It doesn't have to be the state. It could be a specialty. It could be a location. It could be a particular type of nursing. It could be LPNs, CNAs, long-term care, dialysis. So there's a lot of ways that you can niche it out. But once you niche it out, you want to kind of make that your main focus and make it where you become an expert in that particular area. And then second, building relationships with agencies, nurses, and vendors. That's key. The relationship building will sustain you a lot longer than that one contract. So you having a connection with another NOSA, like I mentioned earlier, let us know where you're from, let us know about your agency, is priceless, because you never know when opportunity might hit their door that might be for you, and vice versa. Or they may have an employee that might be interested in going to your state, or vice versa. Maintaining those relationships is so key. And it serves the same thing as far as vendors are concerned. I talk to NOSAs daily. And many times when NOSAs have opportunities, maybe because they're still working or maybe because they, transition into other professions and they have opportunities that they think fellow NOSAs might benefit from, they'll reach out to me. They'll reach out and ask about, hey, I'm looking for dialysis nurses in Ohio. Do you know anybody? Could you refer me to anybody? So having that built-in relationship really matters. And then, of course, nurses talk. We have huge, amazing communities throughout all of social media, and creating that connection can be a great thing or a not so great thing. So maintaining that connection, even if you're working or if you're out and about, that becomes a conversation piece, kind of like I was saying it was when I was working as a travel nurse. And then thirdly, you want to create your marketing strategy. So your marketing strategy is a little bit more than just cold calling. So it's more about, how am I going to tackle this niche area? What are the things and steps and ways I'm going to do it? How am I going to be able to identify the market? The best people to talk to, when to talk to them, other things that I can be doing. So it goes a little bit deeper than just what we see as your traditional cold calling. So picking your niche, underserved locations, or you can pick underserved or key industries or parts of subspecialties of the industry. So Yvette is a great example. That's why I put her up here, of somebody who picked a specialty. So she's a nurse practitioner, and one of her specialties became travel nurses. So many times people think, oh, I can't start here, I can't start there. It just depends. Doing a specialty such as like travel nurse practitioners is a niche. And it's something that she's already connected to since she's already a nurse practitioner, and it opens doors of opportunity because we still need nurse practitioners. Nurse practitioners travel in the same way that your registered nurses, your licensed practical nurses, and CNAs travel. And then that's something that you can grow beyond your state into other areas. So one of the things you want to consider when thinking about your niche too is, why would a nurse choose to work with your agency over another agency? And I think this question came up in the group quite a few times, but most recently this past week, is how do you retain staff, is essentially how the question was phrased. And in this market, it's hard. So for those of us who started a couple of years ago, it was less hard than it is in this market. And a big part of being able to do that is asking people what they want. So every person is different. So not every nurse takes an assignment just for the money. They may take it for the location, but finding out what your particular pool of employees is looking for is key, and meeting them somewhere in the middle. An example would be, a lot of agencies are offering, and we saw that especially at the height of COVID last year, they're offering massages and care packages, they're offering discounts on scrubs or discounts for housing. So there are ways that you can work around and offer something. We've looked into and offered, foot massages because, people are on their feet, your feet hurt. So just getting creative with it so that you're just really appreciating them. And then some people have offered, which you're still doing, is your same day bonuses for picking up shifts, for your per diem staff. Every third shift, they get a $50 bonus. And, there's ways to work that out into your bill rate. But those are ways that you kind of set them aside and really acknowledge them, which is a way for them to pick your agency over another. But in these markets, it can be very challenging. Here's some other examples of niches. Some of you guys fit this. We have neurosurgery, cardiac first assist, long-term care. We had a nurse in New Mexico that was doing labor and delivery at your Indian reservations. Dialysis is a big one as of recent. Outpatient clinics, stroke clinics, hospice care. There's so many ways that you can niche out. One thing I will say in picking a niche, you don't want to get too specialized that you close out your market. Um, you want to make sure that it's something unique, something that your particular area might need, i.e., a place that may have a lot of dialysis centers or a place that may have a lot of long-term care centers. That's a niche. But if you specialize too much, you won't be able to grow or add to what you're doing. Of course, you want to create a unique skill set as well as set yourself apart from other staffing agencies who can't be as precise. And what makes that great is that really only your smaller, mid-sized, smaller agencies can do that. So we can only use, which is also a niche, the niche of being nurse owned. Other large agencies can't say that because they're not, or small business nurse owned. They can't say that because they're not. So those are things that you definitely want to consider as you're thinking about like how you're marketing your agency and what you're sharing with others about who and what your agency is. It's always great to say that you're a small business, but it's even better to say that you're nurse owned. Right. One of the biggest secrets in the industry is if you're not in a location that is underserved, is to specialize in recruiting specific nurses with a unique skill set. And that was some of the specialties we mentioned early on. So secret number two, relationships. So this is key. This is something that I am a strong believer in, and it's something that I practice on a regular basis. But maintaining and building your relationships with nurses, other business owners, vendors is key. And it's something that really doesn't cost you anything. So you don't need a large budget to start an agency, and you don't need a lot of staff necessarily. But creating that relationship is really key and part of setting up the system. So sometimes when you think about like business relationships and things of that nature, you may only think of like one or two things, but it's really that follow-up. It's, connecting with a person where you've had a conversation with them and not basing the ability or the outcome of that conversation to immediately be anything. It's important that as business owners or potential business owners, we get the concept that the long-term return is way better than me giving you $5 for something that you did to me or did for me. So again, those relationships matter. And it's also important to think about how those relationships matter in the sense of when you leave these places. So most of us have worked for hospitals and agencies, worked alongside other nurses. So the relationships you have with those people is important as well. So as fellow employees, what I tell people is be the kind of employee that you would hire. And that matters because a lot of people don't think about, I would be in this position to hire people, but you struggle and you don't think about like, what type of employee were you for other people who were hiring you? Getting the contract. A lot of people, including ourselves, got our contracts through the relationships that we had already built. It wasn't as two-step, call, do this, do that, as much as putting the word out there to people that this is something that we're doing and kind of getting the support and push to make it happen. And those people being willing to point us in the right direction. Who matters not only from the relationship, but it also matters from what they've heard about you. So I know a couple of NOSAs, and ourselves included, hey, I want to reach back to a facility or 2 or 3 that I worked with before. But if they hear your name, what type of response are they going to give? So maintaining those good relationships so that you can go back across that bridge if you need to and ask for a contract because you haven't worked with them in years or what have you, or you can partner with that agency as a subcontractor is really important. And that really helps you as you start to get your momentum and growing your business. And those types of contracts or opportunities are a little bit more concrete, but any opportunity to get a contract, I say go for it. but you also want to consider the long term so that, friends or family members or former coworkers who you maybe have worked with in the past who have gone on into management or ADONs or DONs or administrators, those are also opportunities where you kind of reach back using your relationship with people. This is another example, Verania. She did a lot of the things that we talked about earlier in the first two secrets. Is she was a psych nurse. So of course her specialty became behavioral health. She added to it addiction and detention center placements into her agency. And that kind of became where she sat her niche at. She also does an amazing job at the networking piece, the building of the relationships, wherever she goes, so that when people connect, because nursing is big, but nursing is really, really small. So I worked with nurses when I was in Hawaii, worked with the same nurse in Vermont. I've worked with people time and time again who either one legitimately knew me from other assignments or thought that they knew me. So your reputation really precedes you. So you want to make sure and maintain it wherever you go, because you never know when you're sitting across somebody you've worked with before or that you were a supervisor of before, and now you're having a conversation about them working for your agency. This piece is really important too, about spending as much time in the process of getting your contracts and getting the business up and running into building those relationships and exclusively focusing on key people. So I've talked with people individually. I think I've definitely shared it in the group as far as the importance of being where the people who you want to sign contracts are located. So where the decision makers hang out. And a lot of that is decision makers hang out on LinkedIn and Twitter. A lot of your employees and staff hang out on Instagram and Facebook, and then TikTok is a mix, and then YouTube is a mix too. So if you don't have a LinkedIn page, and we'll go into that a little bit later, but if you don't have these different things in place, you're already starting off behind the gate. So letting people know what you're trying to do is really key. I know sometimes we're hesitant to share what we're doing, but letting the right people know can open the door of opportunity. There have been so many stories of NOSAs that I work with, as couple even in the last course, where church members, family members, oh, well, this church member shared with another person who was a scheduler at this facility, and they sent me over my first contract. So having that conversation delicately is important, so that instead of you working so hard to get that contract, it could have just been a conversation that you had with someone who helped open the door for you. So the third secret is marketing. So when I talk about marketing, I'm just not talking about something where you just kind of say, hey, I'm going to reach out to a lot of facilities and see what happens. That's not marketing. Or I'm going to place some ads or do some posts in social media. That's not marketing. And that's why it's so important that just like a business plan, you have a marketing plan. So you have a plan that kind of outlines what you will be doing on a consistent basis, along with what is the expected outcome. So of course, there's a couple of different ways to market. My top three, or my favorite three, are the ones in the asterisk. And of course, with COVID, we won't be doing too much of this personal contact, but you can get creative with it, guys. Zoom meetings. I am on 100 Zoom meetings a day. And it is as close as I plan to get anybody with COVID-19, but it really helps send that message in a way that just a phone call doesn't do it. I think personal contact or close to personal contact is really nice because it allows people to get a real feel for you. And for especially new NOSAs, it allows people to see the passion that you have about your business. I'm going to go to the second one last, collateral. That's important. So your website is a form of collateral. Your If you have a info sheet, if you don't have one, you should check out Canva, get yourself an info sheet. That's a form of collateral, just kind of nuggets about what you do, where you are. Like a one pager is a collateral. Of course, flyers or trifold brochures are good. Business cards are great. So many businesses have gotten really super creative with the business cards, where you don't have to have the actual card. You tap, and then their information pulls over to your phone or their social media. Those are super cool things to include. So some of your more traditional ways of marketing include direct mail. I haven't done that, but I have heard of people who have done it successfully. Market education. I tell people a lot of times when you're dealing with facilities that are like, oh, we don't use agencies or we stopped using agencies, that's a great opportunity to educate that facility about what's happening in the market. And for facilities who say they've never used agencies, that's a great opportunity to educate them about the benefits of having a staffing agency, whether it be, hey, we can help you meet your short-term needs. We can help you meet your short-term to long-term needs. You know, we do temp to perm, we do permanent placement. So those are great, all great selling opportunities. Advertising, some companies as of recent that I've kind of heard about that have been doing a lot of advertising is Spotify. Spotify, for those who listen to Spotify or similar programs, does a lot of small business advertising. For those of you guys who are like me, who have the ads in Spotify, advertising on YouTube, you know, and then of course you have public relations, which is a little bit more formal. I haven't spent a lot of time in the public relations space, but it's definitely an option as well. But let's circle back to the one that I appreciate the most. And when I redo this presentation, I'm going to put it as the first, your internet presence. So your internet presence matters. As we've seen throughout COVID, so many agencies have run their entire business off of the internet, whether it's they're posting jobs or they're hiring people, they're adding people, you know, they're sharing information, they're doing lives. Everything that's going on about the agency is happening via social media. So not having a minimum of a Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn page, you're kind of behind the gate. And don't get me wrong, a couple of years back, I was all hesitant. So I just got an Instagram 2 years ago, but that's where everybody hangs out. And now more so than ever, TikTok as well. And TikTok not only is advertising their own jobs on that platform, they have other companies like Walmart and Comcast advertising jobs there as well. And you get hundreds of thousands of views for certain TikToks, but you at least get hundreds or so views, which is what you need. And shares. Like, one of the reasons that I love Instagram a little bit more than Facebook is the sharing element. It's an easy share to somebody or to a group of people, and the information is instantly there. And a lot of that is based on the Instagram stories and the Facebook stories. And in September, I'll talk more on the business page about social media. All right. So secret number 3 is your Dream 50. So essentially, Dream 50, and you guys could definitely Google it, is you make a list of 50 facilities that you want to concentrate on. So I tell people, start out a little bit bigger, say 100, and then narrow down to 50. A great tool to do this on is through Medicare.gov. And they have a great listing based on your zip code of clinics, long-term care, LTACs. They don't do too many assisted living, but they do hospital and other healthcare systems. So that can kind of be your pool. And then you narrow it down a little bit more. And then that becomes the area in which you focus on. So that's where you really want to focus on your efforts for your marketing, whether it's cold calling, Zoom meetings, you know, posts or LinkedIn. You know, those are all areas where you want to focus on, because there's so many options out there, even in this market. You don't want to have yourself everywhere. So kind of narrowing in on the region or the state or the specialty or all three really helps you when it comes to the next step, which of course is recruiting for people once you've gotten your contract. Marketing is a must. I talk about it a lot. I know it's an area that a lot of people struggle in. It's something that our course will definitely focus on and give you the tools and resources to do it the most effectively. You don't want to miss the step of investing in the marketing. And I'm not necessarily talking about investing a lot of money into marketing, as well as investing the time and mastering it. It plays a key role in being successful with your agency over time. So one of the reasons I say that is because if you market and you're able to get like a couple of contracts initially, but you don't invest in it over time where you're always marketing, you can end up stuck where, oh, okay, I got all these contracts, but then COVID came, things dried up. Now I have to start marketing again. So you wanted to make it a piece of what you do on a regular basis. So those are a couple of the highlights of the 3 secrets to the staffing agency mastermind. And there's a lot of information that I can share, but there's only but so much time, and we're hitting at the 9 o'clock hour. So I definitely want to respect everybody's time here. So I'm going to go ahead and go in a little bit about our program and what we're offering. So what we're offering here with the Ultimate Staffing Agency Mastermind is an option or an opportunity for you to make a profitable business today. So of course, I know you guys are here because you know about the endless possibilities that healthcare staffing can offer. So some of the things that we offer that's unlike other products or coaches or courses out there is that we really teach you how to set up the business. So a few of the things that I mentioned throughout the course, when it talked about marketing and kind of understanding the business organizational piece, are things that we found NOSAs in the course and NOSAs outside the course were missing, and that created a struggle for them after they had launched. So what we've decided to do is put a lot more focus on those things so that once you're ready to launch and you launch your business, all your pieces are operating well. So one of the things that we're offering is a step-by-step program that has 8 modules. It's an 8-module self-paced course. So this 8 modules isn't something where you only can go in at a set time and do it with me or another one of our NOSA mentors. It's something that you can go in anytime. I understand working the night shift. I understand working the weekends. I understand family and other responsibilities. But in doing so, you're able to do it at your own self-pace with a tight-knit group. So there will be a group of people that you do the course with. You'll get the information, the tools, access to the industry, and effectively be able to compete with larger industries, which is what a lot of people are looking for, plus coaching calls with me, as well as access to the private Facebook group. The other thing that we offer, which a lot of people ask about, is we offer you the templates that you need, the policies and procedures, your pay package calculator. We help you with writing up contracts for nurses and provide you with the forms to do so. So all of these are fillable forms that you can add into your agency package as the next step in the process for you. We also work with you with getting access to your vendor management system. So the ones that we have relationships with, so that you're able to leverage, if you so desire, opportunities. So a lot of people who aren't familiar with the vendor management system, and I'm only going to touch on it a little bit, is there's lots of them. So I think there's probably close to 25 or 50 vendor management systems running within the healthcare space. All of them have different requirements, and there's just a handful of them that have minimum requirements. So a lot of the VMSs that you hear about in the group are the ones who have the minimum requirements. Most of them have higher, most of the others also have higher insurance requirements. They may ask that you do a joint commission required. So those are all things that you can build onto or grow into as your agency grows. not only do you get access to the actual vendor management system, who's also in one of the vendor management systems, will walk you through the process. Like, we'll talk about bill rates that work and make sense. We'll talk about the process of credentialing, the way that that particular system operates. And then we'll kind of walk through a plan that makes sense to manage the process of a VMS, who is essentially operating as a middle person between the agency and the healthcare system. Next, this is Kaja, who's talking a little bit about her experience in the vendor management system. It's not the same process as direct clients, but it's a huge opportunity to leverage your business and to scale. So what VMSs offer to me that you may not get with your direct clients is volume. So you'll have right now, I want to say StafferLink has like 10,000 openings throughout the United States. So yes, you can't fill all 10, but you could probably hit 1%, 0.5% of them and do very well. So you want to offer your employees options, and you want to make sure that the portfolio that you have for your business has a variety of direct clients and a VMS or something like that, so that if any one of those things dries up, you can shift your people in another direction. The next thing that we're going to have inside of the course is we're going to teach you how to recruit the right way, recruit nurses, talk about the hiring process, how to manage a team, which is super key, because I know a lot of NOSAs, myself included, work with virtual assistants and recruiters, maintaining a consistent supply of staff, as well as accessing some of the human resources templates. We're also going to talk about how to compete with larger agencies. So depending on where you're located, you may have a larger agency as your competition. It may not be a mid or smaller agency. It might be a larger agency. So we'll talk through, your specific situation, as well as what it looks like to kind of maneuver through that and what makes sense, because there's a lot of opportunities to partner with some of your larger agencies, but not every situation is ideal for a small business owner. And essentially, the staffing agency mastermind is that. So the step-by-step program over the 8 modules, contracts and templates and policies and procedures, access to a vendor management system, credentialing management, one-to-one coaching services, as well as access to our business preferred partners. So traditionally, a course like this would go for $8,000, easy. If you include the time, the effort, and all the people involved in the process. But for the NOSA group members, I'm extending it to a price for today of $37.50. There you have at the bottom the link if you're interested. And what I wanted to share with you guys before I let you guys start asking questions, and like I said earlier, if you need to jump off, just drop your question in the chat, is some other people's experiences who attended the 2020 course. So Raven is here. She is out of South Carolina, and she attended the mastermind course last year. She has quite a few employees working. She has multiple contracts, and her, like many of the NOSAs that did launch last year through the course, were able to kind of move through the course quickly and launch your agency before the course ended. So part of the course is we'll have monthly group sessions, and then there'll be an individual session element. So if you move really quickly, I'll move really quickly. If you move kind of slow, I'll move kind of slow. So the program is kind of tailored to meet people's needs for that period of time. What I tell people is you always have 2 choices in life. You're like, oh, I want to do this business. I'm not sure it makes sense. I'm thinking about it. It costs a lot of money, or I don't know how to make it work. For me, as I'm sure the case for many other people who are in the industry, it has been high highs and low lows. But at the end of the day, I would truly do it all over again. I would invest my money and opportunity to connect with an expert, because having someone who's already done it allows me to have a person to go to ask questions. And that gives you a lot of confidence when you're starting out new in the industry, is to have someone that you can text or call or email and kind of be like, hey, this is what's going on. Can you help me? Or what's your advice? Or this is the direction I'm looking to go in. This second NOSA also finished the class. So she's a NOSA graduate of the course. And she's Valerie out of Tennessee. And I liked her response to our survey about, there were a couple of different reasons that she decided to start her agency. But one of the motivators, which I think is definitely the case for many of us, was just a desire to have flexibility. And I'm going to add in there, and financial freedom to meet her needs as her family, wife, and mother. She had a lot of strong skill sets. She had worked in case management and she had worked in education, and she was really able to segue those skill sets into the agency. She also did an amazing job with filtering out the existing relationships she had to get a lot of her first initial contracts. Right now, she has 8 contracts, over 30 people working, and she launched in September of last year. And the other thing is, what's it worth? So there's a lot of options out there. So I know you guys know there's a lot of people offering courses or some variations of courses. But what I tell people is getting with the right person who has a reputation and references of people who have done it and doing it in real time and happy about it matters. So I explain to people, yes, you can always have the option to go out there and do it on your own and struggle through it like we did. But trust me, you either pay money on the front end or you pay money on the back end. And as I mentioned before, if I had a chance for us to do it all over again, as much as I love the experience, I would have done without as many of the headaches that kind of jumping in had for us, and work with someone so that I also was able to get like clear answers on questions that I had. And it also helps you when connecting with a course or a coach in that way. It helps you because it really allows you to be able to scale quicker. So our business grew slow. We were slow and steady. So at the point that we were ready to scale, we still had some missing pieces. So that definitely slowed down the process. Again, this is what we're offering. $37.50. In the last webinar that I did, people asked, is there a payment plan? There is a payment plan available. So it's 4 monthly payments of $975. If you are interested in the payment plan, after we do the questions, you can drop payment plan in the chat box and I'll send you a link to that. The price of the $37.50 is going to be up until 96 hours, which is Monday. And Monday is going to be actually the launch of the course. So the course will launch out on August 16th. And as always, this is a great piece that people really look for and has a huge value, is the ability to do what we do in the group, what I do with so many different NOSAs throughout the day, is the one-to-one VIP call. And essentially what that is every person who joins the course gets 2 calls with me, one-to-one. And what that does is we set up a call to create a business plan and strategy for your agency based on what you say you're trying to do. We really want to make sure that when you get into the course, you're ready to go. There's no delays. You don't have any questions, and you get everything that you need. And then at the end of the course, or at the end of the point that you're at the end of the course, we talk again to kind of see where we're going. And then in between that, we'll have group sessions or group coaching sessions where we'll kind of talk about things as a group. So iPhone, can you put your name down? It just says iPhone. All right. So I'm going to drop in the chat the link if you're interested in signing up for the course today. And then I'll reach out to the people that are interested in the payment plan. And I'm going to scoot through because we're getting kind of late. So I'm going to let you guys look at that. If you have questions, go ahead and start sharing your questions. You can take yourselves off of mute. If you don't want to share it verbally, you can drop your question in the chat box. And let me know what you have questions about, and stay just a few more minutes, guys, because I have something else that we're doing as well. Any questions?
So Shemeka, I know you said that you're going to keep it up for 96 hours or whatnot. After the 96 hour, do you still offer it? And if you do, what do you offer that? And at some point in time, do you do your sales or whatnot again?
So what I'm doing as far as the sales are concerned is I'm going to keep it open for the 96 hours, and then the price is going to go up because the course is going to open up. After that, I'm not sure at this time where we're going to place it. It kind of depends on, the number of people and the number of interest, if we'll open up a second cohort to kind of run with the first one. So just reach out to me if you're interested, but maybe you need more time or what have you, and we'll figure out something. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? So the program, Talia is asking, how long is the program? So the access to the platform is for 9 months. So the program is as quickly and as slowly as you move. So it's self-paced, so there isn't a specific time frame on the program, but you'll have access to the program for 9 months. So if, for the group coaching, you can participate and jump in, or you can catch it on the replay videos as well. And then a couple of last things while you guys think about some questions that you might have for me is we have our amazing preferred partner. So one of the things that we did in the revamping of the course is to connect with people who will help you guys do what you need to do. And some of our preferred partners, you guys already know, but I have them highlighted here. And some of the things they help out with and provide discounts and provide direction and services for include credentialing management, invoice factoring, business insurance, compliance management and training, background and drug screening, scheduling, virtual assistance, accounting, and social media support. So this is my little prize or extra addition to the course. So I didn't introduce this in the last webinar, but I'm going to introduce this now. So one of the things that we decided to add in addition to the course is this. So we'll be rolling out on August 16th as well, the NOSA Coaching Connection. So essentially what the NOSA Coaching Connection is an all-inclusive coaching membership service focused on winning while working the business. So I've had tons of conversations, and some of you guys might even be in a situation now around people have launched their agency and they're still struggling, or people are looking to expand their agency but not sure where to start, who need assistance with just kind of bringing it all together, who want support from an expert, who want just that additional voice to kind of help them know they're moving in the right direction, or looking to add VMS to their current portfolio. So what we're offering is a 12-month membership program for those individuals, because for some people, a course is not what you need because you may have already taken one, but you do need additional support guidance. So we have 3 different plan options, really based on where you might be, where the gold plan is a $50 a month fee to get access to 45 minutes of monthly coaching. We also have a silver plan, which is $75 a month, where you get one-to-one 30-minute coaching a month that's tailored specific to your agency. And then, of course, your platinum plan offers you for $100 a month, one-to-one coaching for 60 minutes. Again, tailored to your agency business needs, as well as helps you with strategic goal planning and growth. So in addition to getting those one-to-one coaching services or group coaching services. We also have exclusive video content that'll go out, a quarterly newsletter. You'll be able to participate in our agency spotlight program and discounts on some of our digital download products. So that'll be rolling out as well on August 16th, and you'll be able to book time if that's something that you're interested in. It'll go out into the group as well as on the social media platforms. So any questions? So that's what we're doing. That's why I've been so busy, guys. I've been bringing it all together over the last couple of weeks. So any question? Okay.
Hi, Shemeka.
Hey, who is this? I don't get to see the who's.
This Angie.
Hey, Angie, how are you?
I can go ahead and ask you my question now, because I thought I was gonna have to jump off. So number one, I want to say thank you so very much for having us a community that we can kind of research. But my problem is that I already have everything done. I'm already working in the facility. I'm located in Georgia. But my thing is, now, once I told them that, it was my company, and I don't know if you ever heard of Medley, and Medley is like more of a per diem company where you can just work by app. And the thing is, you're not really on a contract, so you're not in a compete situation. But the thing is that once they don't want to ruin their relationship with the other, I guess the recruiter or agent, but they keep calling me. They continue to text me, and I was like, hey, you know what? I'm jumping from another company. So when I tell them that it's not my company, it's somebody else's company, they seem like they're more reluctant. But I'm having trouble on either by proposal. And I did download QuickBooks because I've seen a lot of people saying QuickBooks. But how do I send that information in order for them to be able to pay me? Those are my two questions. I already have me a contract. So my biggest question was the proposal so I can make sure that I'm not undercharging myself.
You mean like a contract to submit to them for bill rates? Is that what you're saying?
Well, to get paid, because one of them, he was like, well, just send me the information. But of course, I have to act like it's not really my company. So I just took my name.
Right. And you should just be using your company name. So that shouldn't be an issue. And I would kind of, based on what you're saying, and we may have to take this offline, you should just be able to send them an invoice, because that's what you want them to do. Yeah, just you can do invoices through QuickBooks.
Well, I'm definitely signing up for your membership because I'm already there. I have made the connection. So I know it's a go because they keep calling me. So my biggest thing is sending what paperwork that's included in order so I can get paid. Because one agency, I did the job, but I didn't get paid because I didn't have my paperwork together.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And I'll send you a message. Drop your email in there for me, Angie.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Go ahead and ask your questions. We got a few minutes. It's still early.
Shemeka, can you the screen that's right before this one, or the slide right before this one, can you show that again? Yeah, that.
That's it.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Cool. Is this April?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think this is a bingo right here.
All right. Okay. So again, if you're interested in the membership, because I know a lot of people on here have taken a course potentially before. So, or the payment plan. So just to clarify, the payment plan is only an option for the course. So there is not a payment plan option for the membership piece. So I'm gonna look through. I think you have a couple of questions on here. I'm looking to an account manager or suggestions to locate a manager for career staff. Okay, Del, I'll send it to you. I'll send that to you. How long is the course? I don't think we have. Okay. Yeah, if you're interested in the membership, drop your email and I might have your information, but I'll send you a link that gives you the opportunity to book and pay. You're welcome, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. Okay, I see some questions are coming in. Will the course be written format or videos? The people I was refer will not have a lot of, will not need a, so it'll be both. So it'll be presentation similar to this style, and then it'll be videos attached to it. So it'll be very interactive. Right. So Trail, the platinum membership is the one-to-one coaching for the 60 minutes. So yes, hour. Do we get a VMS list? Yes, you'll get a list. But like I mentioned with the VMS, some of them you might have to meet certain requirements. So, you know, there's no, so I don't guarantee that you'll get into every VMS, but I help you get access. Okay. Yeah, Laquana, it'll be videos, it'll be interactive. So it's definitely for the person that's a self-paced learner, but I'll definitely be in the mix of all of it. Do you get forums in the one-to-one coaching? Right. So the one-to-one coaching is tailored to your agency needs. So it's essentially what we're doing here as if it was just one-to-one. So of course we want to do a presentation about staffing agency, but if you're like, hey, Shemeka, I want to do a VMS or I need forms, or I want to understand or create a hiring process or steps on creating a hiring process, that's what we'll talk about. So it's definitely not specific to any one area. So. All right.
So what you're saying, Shemeka, is if you need basically to clarify it, if you need forms or need some type of assistance with policies and procedures or stuff like that or whatever, when you get into the membership part of it, is that what you're saying? You know, basically it's tailored to that. So if that's what you need, then that's what you get.
Right. So the point is that it's customized to where you are. So when we talk initially, we'll kind of come up with a plan. But if say one conversation like, well, Shemeka, I need these forms, I need help with you know, figuring out how to automate the forms or whatever, that's what we'll talk about. But if the next session you want to talk about something else, then we'll talk about that. So it's not really specific as to, hey, we're going to only talk about this one topic, as much as wherever you may have gaps in your agency, which is kind of the goal, we'll kind of come in and fill in those gaps just so that the agency runs smoothly.
Absolutely. That's what I was saying. That's perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I hope that clarify for other people too.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you guys so much. I got your information. You guys know where I hang out at. So if you have any questions,